Hi, sorry, we had some audio issues. Um, we're just going to wait for Radhe to log into this conversation. Hi, Vijay. Can you all hear me? Can one of you just give me a thumbs up if I am audible? Hi, Madhu. Am I audible? Can somebody just give me a thumbs up? Hi, Sharon. Can you just give me a thumbs up if I'm audible? Okay, thanks, Akshaya. I'm just going to wait for Radhe to join. Thank you everyone. Thanks, Madhu. Hi.
Hi,
Yes, I
can you hear
can.
me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, okay,
Okay,
I can hear
awesome.
you clearly.
Radhe, so thank you so much for being a part of Panchavarnam's In the Company of the Sari series. We couldn't have thought of anyone better than you for this because, I've every time we've bumped into each other, and that's mostly at performances and, festivals and conferences, you're always so beautifully dressed in a sari, and I've always really admired how you carry it off so
Oh, thank
easily
you.
and with so much style that you've sort of made your own in some sense. So we're going to chat a lot about the sari, but before that I'm going to formally introduce you to everyone who's logged into this session. Radhe Jaggi, a graduate of the Kalakshetra Foundation, also a postgraduate who also holds a postgraduate diploma in arts management from Dakshin Chitra, is a disciple of Leela Samson. She's currently a performing member of the Spanda Dance Company, directed by Leela Samson. In fact, she toured the USA with the dance company in the summer of 2017 for Spanda's dance production Nadi of Love and Longing. Radhe spent the first 2 years of her dance career performing in over 60 temples across Tamil Nadu. She since then performed at leading venues and festivals across the country, the USA and the UK. Most recently, Radhe completed a 2-month fundraising tour in the fall of 2019 for the ecological revival of the Kaveri River and the economic revival of the farming community as part of the Kaveri Calling Project. She's a recipient of a host of awards and accolades. Her years studying and practicing yoga add to her understanding of movements and expression involved in Bharatanatyam. Radhe hopes to continue the tradition of the great legendary Rukmini Devi Arundel by striving to bring a blend of rich abhinaya and crisp adavus to her performance. Radhe, thank you once again. I'm going to firstly
Thank you for
I'm firstly
having
going to start
me.
off by asking you about how has life been in the last 4 months, and where have you been? And if you're at the ashram, tell us about how it's going.
We were actually, Sandeep and I were in Chennai for the initial part of the lockdown. We were there
Right.
for 3 months. And as unfortunate as it has been for a lot of people who've been affected by this virus, I think we were quite lucky because we've been married almost 6 years now, and I don't think we've ever lived in the same house for 3 months at the same time. We're
Oh,
always traveling, packing bags, going in and out of the house. So it was really nice to actually spend some quality time together. And we also, our place had a lot of work. We hadn't put up any paintings on the walls, everything. We were just kind of living in a makeshift way. So it was nice to make what was just an apartment into a home and cook every day and clean every day. And it was actually nice. It started to make the
oh,
place feel more like home. And I think we very recently have gotten
oh.
into video games, so it was nice to compete against each other on that as well.
I wouldn't imagine you being like crazy about video games. That's a new one.
I never was. Even growing up, I really never understood the appeal. I would rather read a book. I would rather watch a film. But somehow I watched a not so great movie that was based on a video game. But I was very excited about the world in which that video game takes place, which is how we started
Oh,
playing. And it kind of takes you, it's very, the graphics, everything is very interesting, it's very real. It's based on a lot of historical situations. And I think it was almost like being in the movie and playing the part yourself, or being in a book and deciding which direction
okay.
the book goes.
Wow.
And
Which
I
movie
think we
is
got
this, by the
hooked.
way?
The video game is Assassin's Creed.
Okay, lovely. But where are you now, Radhi? Are you in the ashram by any chance?
So, yes, we are. We moved to the ashram a
Okay.
couple of weeks ago. We got tested in Chennai before we came here because there's over 3,000 people who've
Here.
been
Oh,
quarantined here. So we got tested and then we drove down, and then we had to quarantine here separately in a separate room, and food and everything was provided to us. And they have a whole system, actually a very, very
I can
well organized
imagine.
system for
Yeah.
quarantine and things like that. And now finally we're out.
Wow.
So there's space to walk and
I
the
can
weather's
imagine.
wonderful because the monsoon has started.
Yeah.
So it's been good, which is why I chose
Oh,
to have it outside so
yeah,
that there's some
absolutely.
greenery and not a
Fantastic.
wall.
I'm like so jealous right now because I don't know what the outside feels like. It's been a while since we all, I'm sure you know because you listen here.
I know. And we were walking around and somebody said, do you want a cycle or do you want, some way to get around the ashram? Because the
Right.
campus is quite large. And I said, it's been 3 months since I went on a
I
walk. Please
know.
just let me
Wow.
walk.
Radhe, what is when you go to the ashram? Talk to us about your life in the ashram. Like, what is your routine in the ashram like? I'm sure you've sort of uh, cultivated for yourself a routine there. What is your routine like? Talk to us about it.
I think it depends a lot on whether my father is here or not, because if he's in the ashram, then my schedule kind of revolves around when he has meetings and
Yeah.
when he doesn't have meetings. But otherwise, there's Isha Samskriti is over here, so I teach
Right.
there whenever I can. And in the morning, of course, you wake up and Guru Puja happens and all of
Right.
the sadhana happens. And it's so easy for me to do my practices and I mean, outside of dance, even just to do my yoga and do my meditation, it just kind of happens because
Right.
the space is made for that and it doesn't take any effort. I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, I'm so lazy today. That just almost never happens
Yeah.
when I'm here in the ashram. So it's been good to get into that. Also, my teacher's taking an online
Right.
class for a group of us, so spending some time
Wow.
learning a new piece and then teaching the children, and honestly,
I
just
know.
walking around and enjoying the
Fabulous.
monsoon.
Radhe, I was today when I was thinking about the like sort of putting together a questionnaire, for you, I was thinking that much of your life has been spent in these beautiful environments, right? Like you studied in the Kalakshetra, and then I read that you did your arts management in Dakshin Chitra, and then of course the ashram. I mean, I'm curious about what happens when you're surrounded by so much beauty. Like, what does it do to you?
I think it was a conscious choice by my father to put me in spaces where nature was not something that you had to be exposed to. It was very much a part of life. So the ashram, of course, is very much like that. And then I studied in Rishi Valley School, which was again a large campus, lots of greenery, lots of hills to climb, rocks. If you ask any of my teachers, they would never find me in the hostel. If you ask them, oh, Radhel be on some tree somewhere with a book,
Yeah.
was like the standard response. And we were allowed to just be and just do whatever we liked, also, which was really nice. And then Kalakshetra is very green, and the whole lifestyle is not just about moving from one box into the other. It's very much about being involved with the nature around you and being inspired by the nature around you. I don't know. I think the hardest thing about being a dancer is not so much the practice and all of that. It's really just having to live in a city constantly. Given the choice, I'm a jungle
Yeah,
girl
but you do travel a
always.
lot, right, Radhe? Like I feel like you always find these opportunities to escape from the city, so to speak, right?
I do, yes. And fortunately, I married someone
Ah,
who's also very much on the same wavelength. We always travel. A lot of our hobbies are very outdoor oriented hobbies. We go trekking, we go scuba diving, we do as much outdoor activity as we can. And I think because he's a musician and I'm a dancer, we get to travel to a lot of new places that we maybe wouldn't go to, smaller towns, smaller temples, smaller, just not metropolitan cities. A lot of the art and appreciation of the art happens in the
right.
smaller towns of India. And because of that, you get a much larger exposure to people and how they live. And I think I don't maybe I'm biased, but I think in the Indian subcontinent, nature is very much a part of our lives. Just culturally, the way we are and the way we are brought up, it's a very
Yeah,
significant part of our upbringing. And I think we just make the
yeah,
most of it as much
yeah.
as we can.
Radhe, what is your, if I were to ask you, what is your idea of beauty? Like, you know,
Uh, I don't know that I have a fixed idea of beauty. I think it's, of course, it's different for every person, but I think it's a certain sense of comfort. If you can walk into a space and feel instantly at ease, there's a beauty to that space. Or if you can, because we're talking about saris, if you know, sometimes saris are not necessarily overdone or exquisite in that sense, but there's beauty in just the connection or the simplicity of the sari. Um, Sometimes it's in the way somebody walks. Sometimes it's in the way somebody holds their head. I think you can find, if you're looking for beauty, I think you
right,
can find it
absolutely.
everywhere.
And I suppose your, the kind of school that you studied, your training in the Kalakshetra, do you think that it sort of also, as a, as a dancer and as a creative artist, you're also in a certain way always alert to the idea of beauty, like you're able to find beauty even in the small things in that sense?
I think so. I don't know if it has so much to do with being a dancer or an artist because a lot of people who are in the corporate world, if you go into their homes, it's almost completely different. You know, they're in suits and everything when they go to office, but when you see their homes, it's a quieter space or it's
Right.
very differently
That's right.
decorated from what you would expect
Yeah.
somebody who's in a suit the whole day. Um, of course, it depends from person to person, but it's
Right.
always in the
Right.
details, I think. It's not really about it's not about finding a big space and making it beautiful. It's
Yeah.
not always the big murals. It's the little things, a little flower placed in the right place
Right.
or an
Yeah.
ink pen in the wrong
Those
place,
little,
something,
yeah.
you know. And I think being a dancer, we look a lot for symmetry. But having grown up in the ashram and the people around me, symmetry's never been so much of my. I think it's never
Important,
been
yeah.
so important for me. It's very funny because Sandeep and I, initially when we got married, I would always place, if there are three things, I'll place two things on one side and one thing on the other side. And he would be like, why wouldn't you just make it equidistant? But to me, it just,
That's beauty.
asymmetry has a different kind of beauty.
Yeah. Like you rightly said, Radhe, the sari is like such a thing of beauty, right? I want to ask you when you actually discovered the sari, and when did you actually fall in love with it?
So I have a funny story to tell you about this. Very recently, someone reminded me of this. My father was doing programs in Nagarkoil many years ago. I was maybe anywhere from 6 to 8. I can't quite place it, but I was definitely not older than 8 years old. And I really wanted to wear a sari. So the lady of the house took out one of her dupattas and she made pleats for me and she strung it over my shoulder. And they had just had a child. I think the child was under a year old. And there's still a picture of
Oh,
me in this sari holding this
so cute.
baby. So quite young, I think. I was very embarrassed to
Wow.
be reminded of that, but but it's there, so people remember. But I think I really got into it when I went to Kalakshetra because there you wear a dance sari every day. And the days that you're not able to dance, say you have an injury or you have some illness, but you're still going to college, you
Right.
have to wear a full sari. There's the option to
Doesn't
wear a
exist.
salwar kameez doesn't exist. And I was 16 when I went, and I think a sari makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this quite a bit. And I went straight for like, oh, I'm going to wear a sari or a dance sari. I
Very.
didn't want to wear the davani. Now, when I think back,
You
that
have,
was the perfect
yeah,
age to wear a skirt and a davani. I
yeah,
feel like I
that
missed out
way.
on
Yeah.
some aspect of costume. Now I'm too old to wear a davani. But I started when I was 16 and a whole bunch after my mother passed, a lot of her
Right.
saris were given away to people who were close to her. And but my father had kept about 12 to 15
Oh,
of her favorite
right.
saris for me. So as soon as I got into college, suddenly I was wearing my mother's saris after how many years, and
Yeah.
it
Very
was
special.
it was nice. It's still some of my favorite saris
That
are
belong
ones
to
that
her.
belong to her.
You know, somehow, by virtue of wearing the sari and starting to wear it fairly early, do you think, women also in a certain way grow up? Because the sari itself has such a, I don't know, Radhe, it has such a sort of mature quality about it, right? Like you can't like, I mean, you can like do whatever you want with it, but somehow you can't just fool around with it. You know what I mean? So do you feel like by virtue of wearing it, it kind of also um, sort of forces you to, you know, become a woman, so to speak?
I don't I don't know. I think because I wore it so young, I was a very scrawny person. Like growing up, I was very
Right.
scrawny and small, and I'm quite narrowly built, and so everyone would always treat me like I was much younger than them. And growing up in the ashram and my father and other people, and I think maybe also because I went to a J.D. Krishnamurti school, this question of authority being authority because somebody was older than you was not something I was used to. And when I went to Kalakshetra, the type of education there is different. And because you're learning something that's a classical art form, and really a lot of it is repetition, and they do know more because of experience. But I questioned everything. I had questions about why do you have to do it like this? Why do you have to do it like that? Like, and just endless questions. And when people think of you as a child and you ask endless questions, it's okay because they think it's cute that a child is behaving like they're older. And then when you're, like 20 and you're asking incessant questions, then also people accept it. But there's an age in the middle where they just think you're being irritating or annoying or like, who are you to
Right.
ask so many questions? But the minute I started wearing saris, I was only 16, but the minute I started wearing saris, it forced
Yeah.
people to look at
Yeah.
me not as a child. And I think it was an advantage for me because when I asked questions that could easily have been misunderstood as being rude, they took the time to think about it and
Right.
answer me. So it gave me a certain sense of, I think maybe because it made me look more like a
Right.
woman and less like a girl. But I don't think the sari has ever stopped me from doing stupid
I'm
things.
sure.
I've done all kinds of things. I've gotten on bikes. I've climbed trees. I mean, it's in fact something I'm very comfortable doing in
Wow.
a sari, which is maybe even more so than in some
Yeah.
other
And
clothing.
I guess this, one also sort of is a sari is also kind of outfit that you kind of grow into. And the more you wear it, the more comfortable you get with it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Anyone that says it's difficult to
Yeah.
wear a sari, it's not. You just wear it 5 times in a row, and suddenly
How
it's
long
like
does it
second
take you to
skin.
wear a sari, Radhe?
I don't know, a
Oh
couple
my
of
God,
minutes
yeah.
at the
Yeah,
most.
I guess. I love what you're wearing today. Can you talk about what sari you're wearing today?
I am wearing
Oh,
a
beautiful.
Pochampalli. It's a sari from Andhra Pradesh. When I got married, a very close family friend asked, "What would you like for
Uh-huh.
your wedding as a gift?" And I said, "I want one of all the Andhra saris." So, so she spoke to a group of other, I say family friends. They're like my aunts. We're
Right.
just not related by blood,
Right.
but we're related by everything else. So each one of the aunts got me one. So one person got me a Pochampalli, and one person got me a Kalamkari, one person got me a Venkatgiri. And so I
Covered
Upada,
in the
I kind
bag,
of
yeah.
covered it in my. I said, please don't get me anything else, just one of each of the Andhra
So what
saris, and
about the
I'm happy.
Andhra weaves? Do they like what about that fascinates you, Radhe? Like, I mean, why Andhra? Why did you pick Andhra?
Well, the lady who asked me is Telugu, so that was part of it. But also, I think being a Bharatanatyam dancer, we see a lot of Kanjivarams and we see a lot of
Right.
Tribhuvanam saris. We see a lot of Chettinad
Yeah.
saris. These are things we're exposed to, and particularly being in Kalakshetra, the weaving unit had a lot of the Chettinad Kanchipuram style of saris. So maybe I had
Okay.
collected a
Yeah.
few of those already. But I only had one Upada at that time, and I think maybe I had a Pochampalli, but I don't think so. So because she was Telugu, it just seemed
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the thing to
Oh my
ask
God, the
her
Upada is
for.
such a beautiful weave, right? Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, I
It's
was
too
almost expecting
beautiful.
you'd be wearing a kalamkari for some strange reason because I've seen a lot of photographs of you in kalamkari. What is your fascination with the kalamkari print, really?
Actually, I only own
The
one kalamkari. But this Mahashivratri, I had borrowed a beautiful kalamkari from someone, and now I'm trying to find out who made the sari so I can get the
right.
same sari made. Um, the kalamkari I really like because the kind of work that goes into it is very beautiful. And even though the colors are very dark, and even though they can be quite busy, if you find the one that looks nice on you, it, it's not a very light sari, but it's quite a light sari that looks much
Right.
heavier than it is. So you can dress it up and dress it down. But I think you can dress up and dress
Of
down
course,
almost
yeah,
any
yeah.
sari. So
Radhi, so invariably, somebody who loves to wear a sari is also inherently curious about the different weaves and is always looking to, could you talk about, your own collection of saris and how you have also sort of cultivated this sort of nuanced approach to to your collection, not just like buying the same type of sari but trying to find one beautiful weave and add that to your collection, because now also there's this huge narrative that's going on about slow fashion and that it's important not to hoard but it's important to invest and buy one really good something, right? So could you talk to us about that?
I think when I was younger, I definitely bought saris a little bit more indiscriminately. But I also gave away a lot of my saris indiscriminately. So people would be like, "Oh, I really like this sari." I'd be like, "Oh, okay, you can have it," and I would just give it away. Um, if
Yeah.
there were saris I have bought, if they're saris that have been given to me, then I
Right.
usually keep those. Um, so I think I went through maybe a couple of years when I was just so fascinated, and also I think I had just started making a little bit of money then. So I was like,
Nice.
okay,
Yeah.
so I can buy it
Correct.
because nobody can
Correct.
say don't do this or
Yeah.
don't do that to me anymore. And then I realized you kind of get into a certain mindset about what sari looks good on you. And you have a fixed idea of
Yeah.
this is what I'm comfortable with. And so you end up picking up saris that look quite similar.
All very,
And
yeah.
I don't I don't have one
Yeah.
blouse for one sari. So I also end up buying saris that look nice with the
Yeah.
blouses I already have. So I started to have a lot of similar sarees. I have a lot of indigos that look
Yeah.
very, very similar, or I have a certain shade of yellow that's like very,
Right.
very similar. Then I kind of took a step back and I stopped buying saris for a while. I think after we got married for almost 2.5 years, I didn't buy any saris just because I had to look and see what I had and what I wanted. Um, I I don't think I've bought a Kanjivaram sari in a while, and if I have, it's either for a costume or it's a light one, not something with gold, something much lighter. And I started looking for other weaves. So because we get to travel so much, I would pick up something. Like if we went to Calcutta, I would pick up something from there.
Right.
If we went to Delhi, I would pick up something from there. When we went to Gujarat recently, I bought a Bandhani sari, my very first Bandhani sari. Um,
Lovely.
so I think it's important to see what, because in terms of weaves, in terms of dyeing, in terms of
So
just
much,
craft
right?
in India, it's the variety
Mind-boggling.
that you have is unbelievable. You know, you can't, nobody is satisfied with what they have because there's just another
Yeah.
option and another
Do you
option.
have like a wish
So,
list, Radhe? Like, do you feel like you want to definitely like, yeah, tell us
oh,
about it. We will
definitely.
add.
I have. Well, so I think what's on anybody who's heard of a Patan
Oh,
Patola
of
wants a
course.
Patan Patola, but I don't. But I want a specific Patan Patola because I'm like very narrow and I don't want something that's too busy. At the same time, they're very famous for certain colors. So the Patan Patola, the blue, the green, and the
Right.
red is very popular. They also have a yellow, which is not very common, and there's a lighter shade of green
Right.
also, which I've seen, but
Right.
not that often. So I'm still looking for that one that I can really fall in love with and that I can give up
Really
because they're
expensive.
expensive, like scarily expensive. So you can only, if you ever buy one, you can
Right.
only ever buy one.
Have
So
to
you
work
really
towards, yeah.
have to think about it. So
Yeah.
definitely a pattern. Yeah, and like really save up and work
Right.
towards that one sari. But other than a pattern patola, I have a black tangail, but they make tangails in
Yeah.
very light
Usually that's
colors. So I want a tangail that's a self, yeah, I want a
okay.
self-colored tangail. A Bengali red and white sari, I still
That,
haven't found
yeah.
one that I really love, so I
Right.
don't own any. Yeah. I have a Kasava sari, but I don't love
Oh,
it.
that,
I'm still looking for one that
yeah.
falls a little bit
Oh,
better.
that's also beautiful. Kasava is also
Um,
beautiful. Yeah.
what else? Yeah, I have a hot pink paitani which I bought at my like around the time of my wedding, and I was going through a pink phase then. But paitani makes a beautiful purple. It's a purple I've not seen in anything else. It's like a purple and green combination. So if I ever find that one paitani, then I might.
Right.
I'm
Wow.
looking for that. Um, and an ajrak, a
Wow.
gadji silk ajrak. Honestly,
And
this list is
Panchwala,
endless,
yeah.
so I could keep going on about the sarees I want.
But
It's not a.
are there like some type of saris or some texture of a sari or like some weave that you'd never ever like wear? Like, is there something that you're averse to? Like I have like some I will never wear this type of a sari. So do you have those? Like,
I'm not a fan of
yeah,
georgettes and chiffons, but I think they don't look nice on me. I have nothing
same, yeah,
against the fabric itself, and I've seen beautiful
right.
georgettes on other people. It just doesn't suit my aesthetic, and I've not seen a Georgette that I would immediately be like, oh, I would love to wear that sari. I have owned a Georgette. It's not that, and I think I gave it away many, many years ago, but it's not that I'm averse to the fabric. It's just I don't think it's my
Right.
style.
Radhe, do you wear your saris often? Like, do you repeat them? I'm sure you have a large collection, but because you also wear the saris often, do you feel like once you buy a sari, do you feel that you have to kind of use it well? Are you one of those like, or are you the type who'd never like repeat a sari or something?
Yes, definitely. No, no, no. I wear my saris all the time because I only buy saris that I really, really love. So I go through these phases where, like now that I've worn this Pochampalli, if there's another event or if there's something else anytime soon, well, not during Corona, but at any other time, I would probably wear the sari again. I go through phases when I repeat the same 10 or 12 saris again and again, just because I get comfortable wearing them. And then I have to make a conscious decision to put them away because it sounds silly, but I feel like the other saris will feel bad if I don't wear them. So I kind of cycle them
Right.
through.
Radhi, like, do you feel that you started wearing the sari, early because of just, I guess, like your the environment that you grew up in, and then of course Kalakshetra and all that, and maybe perhaps like friends your age are probably, I don't know, like, I mean, they're still like warming up to the idea of the fact that the sari could be an everyday thing and it's not like an occasion-based outfit, right? Uh,
Most of my friends who are not dancers, I think, have maybe worn a sari for someone's wedding. I don't think they've worn it for. Actually, a couple of my friends who came for my wedding, I told them very clearly, I was like, there's no dress code for anybody else, but you have to wear a sari. And they did, and they really enjoyed it. And in fact, one of my friends who'd never worn a sari before that now has a little more affinity, and she wears them more often to events when she
right.
goes with her mother. So I will
Good.
take credit
And
for that.
do you feel like you could be, an influencer in that sense? And I don't mean influencer like a social media influencer, but I feel like just by virtue of wearing it and showcasing it, I do know that you did this really interesting. I think during the Margari, you wore like a sari every day and you showcased your sari. I mean, by virtue of doing that, do you think you're also, encouraging more young people to wear the sari and also in some sense keep a piece of heritage alive, right?
I hope that I hope that when people see the comfort with which people can wear a sari, or me or other people my age can wear a sari, that they then try it on or they want to wear one. The reason I did that thing about Margali was just because a lot of people asked me, "Oh, what kind of sari is this? What kind
Oh,
of sari is that?" And they would be very surprised by where I had gotten the sari or things like that. So that was part of the reason for doing that. So I consciously chose to wear different weaves on those 28, 29 days. So one day I wore a Pochampalli, one day Mysore silk, one day just a chettinad cotton, and just say, okay, this is the chettinad cotton. That itself, I think a lot of people didn't realize that these names are they're very familiar names, but you just don't associate it with that
right.
particular sari. So just to make it something that's easy and common and very easy to understand, it really doesn't take that much effort to find out where your sari is made. When you're buying it, if you ask them, they'll tell you
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what kind of sari it is. And all sari shops,
So
the
they are
people there are
knowledgeable, right?
so knowledgeable. You can ask them
So
almost any
yeah,
question. Yeah. Even just the really young boys behind the counter who are just
would
opening and
so
folding,
much.
they know so much about it. You can ask them, what kind of butta is this? And if
And
you
they'll
say the
correct you.
wrong
Yeah,
name, they'll correct you. Like if you say this is Usi, illamma, idu Usi illa, idu indamari Usi. Like he'll specify this is not Malli, this is Vaira Usi,
right.
like all those things. And that's really who I learned anything about saris from, is I asked those people questions and they
Yeah.
had all
Radhi, you
kinds of
said
knowledge.
Mysore, and obviously, like I have a Mysore connection. I know that you have a Mysore connection as well. I want you to talk about the Mysore silk. And do you like that sari? And what is your connection? I've
Oh,
seen
I
you in that. Yeah,
love
yeah,
the
yeah.
Mysore
That's why I asked
silk.
you. Yeah.
I think my very first Mysore silk was my mother's Mysore silk, and I didn't. I mean, I knew it was a Mysore silk, but I don't know that I really understood or appreciated what it was. But just because it was so soft, it
Oh,
was like butter, I would wear it more and more often. And well, like you said, like we both have very intense connections with Mysore. My grandfather lived there up until he passed away recently. My cousin and my aunt, my
right.
uncle, they still live there. So we used to visit very often. I have to say one thing though, the Mysore silks that you get in most
Yeah, yeah, of
shops are
course.
not Mysore silks. And when I go there and they tell you, Illama, this is
Right.
Mysore silk, I mean, I feel like telling them, no, can I introduce you to a
Yeah,
Mysore silk,
real
like a
one. Yeah.
real one? um, because the weight of a Mysore silk is important, the thickness, the texture is so important. And the more you wear them, the
Right.
softer they become. I've always been fascinated, and I think my father also has always really liked Mysore silks, because about a year or 2 years before I got married, a lot of my sari related stories I realize are now going around my wedding, because
Turns
I
of
think
the
I got a
time.
lot of
Yeah.
saris at that time. But but before that, he at one point said, "Okay, go and go to the factory and get whatever you want." And I think I bought like two or three
Wow.
Mysore silks at that time with him. And they're not cheap, but I think he also really enjoys Mysore silk saris, and he's got great aesthetics, and I
Of
definitely get a
course.
lot of it from him. Um, and so because of that, my relationship with a Mysore silk is I love them. I would wear them
Right.
every day if I
Radhi,
could.
I'm going to also ask you this question. I've been asking literally everyone in this series that, there's something about, about the smell of a sari, and especially a sari that you sort of, inherit. So what is obviously your connection with your mom's saris? You said you got about 10, 15 saris, um, obviously they must be so precious to you, right? What was her collection like?
Uh, not great. My mother was actually, she didn't have a great collection of anything. She just wasn't interested and wasn't invested. And I think most of the saris that she owned, like once a year or once in 2 years, my father would just buy like five, six saris for her one day and give them to her as a gift, and she would just add them and keep wearing them. She was never really someone to go and look and like, she
Yeah,
was never like that about anything, actually. Her concern
right.
was only about other people. She loved to
Right,
feed other people, and she played a pivotal role in
right.
many things in the ashram. And so her concern was always for other people. I think whatever she was given, she just wore. She didn't really. But thankfully, it was my father who was giving her the saris, so she had some real beauties in her collection. I have those, but I've also been very fortunate to inherit saris from other people. So my mother-in-law has given me a whole
Conjugal's,
selection of
right,
Kanjivaram saris
right.
from her wedding. And there are other people in the ashram who have given me
Mhm.
saris of theirs, just because, oh, you like wearing saris, this is mine, and they just give it to me,
Lovely,
like completely
lovely.
selfless with no nothing. So I've inherited saris from a
Right.
lot of different people, and just the
It's so
feeling of an old
precious, right?
sari, I think, is far
I
better than the
know,
feeling of a
yeah,
new
seriously.
sari. There's
Something about the quality of that worn,
right,
yeah,
there's something
yeah.
about a
Lived in,
worn.
right? Lived in.
Yeah.
I know,
And
it's
worn many,
very
yes, lived
beautiful,
in,
yeah.
absolutely. It's like a home
Right.
as opposed to a building. If you buy a
Yeah,
new sari, it's like a building, but if you go to someone's home, it's
it's
like
like
a whole
collecting
other
old furniture,
feeling.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
antique furniture, for example.
yeah. I tease, there's somebody that I'm quite close to here in the ashram, and she has a fantastic collection of cotton saris. And I'm always teasing her. I'm like, don't worry, when you go, I'll take care of your saris. Because, and she's just like, don't worry, I'll give them to you. Don't have to
Reiterating,
like,
yeah, right.
want them like that. I'm only teasing her, but it's just because she has the same fascination. She has the same
Right,
fascination for saris that I do. And she also really appreciates these
right.
worn, soft saris. And I think initially people thought I was crazy when I said, oh, these old saris, these old saris. I used to tease my mother-in-law. I used to be like, oh, you have all these beautiful kanjivarams and all that. But she is the first person. If I say, oh, I like this, she'd be like,
Wow.
take it right now. I'm like, no, no, you wear it. I'll take it later or I'll borrow it from you. She'll say, no, 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 you take it right now. So
Generous.
she's very
Wow.
generous with her cupboard.
That's
Um,
great, Rajesh.
and so
You're
I've
surrounded by,
stolen some
yeah, such
real
lovely,
beauties.
generous people. And I think that,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I have
And I
been my
think,
whole
Radhi,
life.
it's also, I've been thinking all through this lockdown. I don't want to reveal my idea, but I just feel like it would be so lovely if we could all share our saris, right? I mean, we have so much, and I'd love for my saris to be used because I have a fairly large collection and I don't wear them as frequently as you do. So sometimes, like, one sari finds its turn, like, maybe only like 7 8 months later, right? And then you feel like, oh my god, I invested so much in it and I'm not able to do justice to it, right? So it's nice.
Yeah. I have to tell you, one of the days during the lockdown, I was just so, we were just sitting at home and I was like, I'm wearing a sari today. So I just wore a cotton sari the whole day
Just
just for no
okay,
reason other
lovely.
than to
On
wear
that
the
note,
sari.
there is Deeksha Kishore who would like to know from you, Radhe Akka, how does one get used to sari as a daily wear and feel that ease and comfort?
Just find somebody who teaches you how to wear a sari in the easiest possible way. Different people wear it differently. And some people say you have to tuck it here, you have to pin it here. I don't wear a
Right.
single
Remember you
pin on
telling
my
me.
saris ever. I'm too scared that they will rip my saris.
Yeah.
I don't wear a single pin, and so it actually makes it faster and easier for me to wear a sari. Um, I remember when I was in Kalakshetra, I used to get a lot of flack for not having my dance saris were very neatly pleated, but my regular saris, I would just throw
Yeah.
them on and they'd be like, oh, it's not
Right.
neat and it looks messy. And I mean, you can see how I wear
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
sari, I just kind of throw it on. So you find somebody who can teach you how to
Yeah.
just wear it, like your mother or somebody who wears it on a regular basis. And then you have to tie the sari and you have to wear it every day for like a week. And it's impossible for you to not be
Right.
comfortable in it.
Radhe, do you experiment with draping? Like, do you like, I've never seen you like wear the sari any other way, or do you?
Uh, I experiment on how to drape it when I'm in the room, but I think I've only ever been brave enough to wear it out
Right.
twice in my life when I'm not on stage. I mean, just because there's just a certain, it's just easier, if I'm trying to do a different drape, then I have to focus and see, okay, is it tight enough? Will it fit here? Does it pull there? And I have to figure out all those things because I don't like to keep fixing and refixing it later. And just because I'm most used to wearing it the way we wear it. But I'm fascinated by different drapes. So I've learned how to
Right.
wear it in different ways. But I think I've only ever worn it out
Right.
once or twice. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
just not brave
this is what I was going
enough.
to ask you a question. I remember reading this article in the Harvard Business Review many years ago. It was about the whole concept of decision fatigue. And it talked about how really successful people like thinkers and spiritual leaders and, CEOs of companies always wore the same type of clothes, right? Because they wanted to spend a minimum time on thinking about what they have to be wearing on an everyday basis, like not having like us to like say this blouse and that sari and stuff. But I suppose, Radhe, like I want to ask you, and this just suddenly struck me, that perhaps like once we start wearing the sari, we develop for ourselves a particular aesthetic, and sometimes it is too
Yes.
much to kind of stray away from that aesthetic, right?
I think it's a bit of both. I don't know that it's decision
Yeah.
fatigue, at least not for me. I think it's just that if I'm getting ready, if I'm getting dressed for a wedding, and if I have a salwar kameez with a nice dupatta or embroidery, I actually spend more time putting that on than I
Right.
do putting on a sari. And I think just that because I'm so used to wearing it a certain way, and it literally
Yeah.
takes me less than
Yeah.
2 minutes to put it on, I just don't bother spending time on it. It's not that I'm not interested, and it's not that people shouldn't try it. In fact, I think people should wear it in different ways. We're losing a lot of cultural relevance because people who used to tie certain saris a certain way, they're not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody does this, the pleats on the
Right.
bottom and davani on
Right.
top kind of sari. And I don't think we should lose it. I think we should learn how to tie it in different ways. And let's see, maybe I'll start now that you've
Oh my
called
God.
me out on it.
Radhe, so there's little Sahana who's 10 years old who wants to know, Radhe Akka, I'm 10 years old. When is a good time for me to start wearing a sari?
Don't make the mistake I did. Definitely wear a pavade and davani when you get a little bit older and then move on to a sari because once you cross a certain age, it
Right.
doesn't suit you as much. But there's really no age, Sahana. You can wear a sari whenever you like. If you want to try with your mother's dupatta tomorrow, you should try
Right.
it. What's the problem?
Radhe, there's another question from Sharavani Raju. How do I ensure that the sari doesn't loosen up without pinning it up?
Um, I honestly don't know what to say to that because I don't even wear my underskirt very tight. I think maybe initially, if that's what helps you, maybe tie the skirt a little bit tighter so that you don't feel like the pleats
Yeah.
are going to fall off. Um, I I really don't have a solution to that problem because it's never been a problem for me. Sorry, I'm so sorry, but I can't help you with that one. I've never liked, sari is like a flowing fabric. You just have to learn to appreciate the fact that it's a flowing fabric. Like now it's on my arm and I will pull it up. So if I'm doing work, then I'll just pull it up like this. But if I'm just sitting and if it falls down, it's really not an issue. What's the big deal? I think don't think that a sari has to look a certain way. It has to only fall a certain way to look nice on you. The whole point is it's a flowing fabric. Let it look
Lovely.
the way it looks.
Radhe, there is a question from Yogi Celeste, and she's like, what would you advise someone who's never worn a sari, and what type of sari could I purchase?
Uh, what type of sari should I purchase is
No,
a
for
is the
somebody
wrong
who's never
question to
worn a
ask me
sari.
because it'll be a long, long list. But if you're starting, I suggest start with cotton. I mean, any kind of cotton. A light cotton sari is always the
Right.
best one to start with because it doesn't feel heavy and you don't feel
Right.
like it's pulling you down. And there's a lot of YouTube tutorials on how to tie a sari and I don't even mean the different drapes. I just mean the basic way that we wear it. Again, like somebody else asked the question, don't look for anything complex. People have,
Yeah.
oh, pleat it like this, it'll make you look
Correct.
slimmer or bigger or this or that. Please don't bother about any of those things. Figure out how to make pleats with your hands, and that's like 50% of the sari
Lovely.
wearing process.
Radhe Sudharma wants to know what is your favorite drape?
My favorite drape, like style of wearing
I
or type of sari? Type of sari, my favorite type of sari is
yeah.
Mysore silk. It's it's not that I like it. It's not that I like any other type of sari less than I
Right.
like a Mysore silk. It's more a sentimental thing, and it's Mysore silk. But the real
Correct.
Mysore
Of
silk
course, yeah,
from the
from that city, yeah.
factory,
Radhe, you have a very big collection from
from
what we
yeah.
understand. How do you keep and maintain your saris, Radhe?
Uh, I think people think I have more saris than I have. But yes, I mean, I have definitely have over 100 saris, no question. Creases, because if they get creases and if they're like that for a long
Mm-hmm.
time, they will tear. If you have the space in your house, which I don't have, is the best thing is to do is to roll
Oh,
some types of saris. So if you have like a silk mix kota or if you have a Banaras sari, it's better to roll it so that it
okay.
doesn't get creases. Um, I think the best way to maintain
Yeah.
your sari is to wear them. If you wear them often enough, you don't have to worry about anything because it's exposed to the air. It gets time to breathe. It doesn't, all the folds come out. With a Kanjivaram sari, I try to iron the border before I wear it because sometimes the gold
Yeah.
zari gets folded and you don't want that to
Right.
become a permanent fold. Yeah, the best way to
Yeah.
maintain your sari is to wear them.
Right.
Wear them as often as
Radhi,
you
what
can.
about somebody wants to know, do you like wearing a certain kind of jewelry? How do you like accessorize your saris?
I love jewelry, but I'm far more picky about my
Yeah.
jewelry than I am about my saris. So I have a few pieces, but few pieces that I really love. And I think if your sari has a lot of gold, then try not to wear a lot of gold on your
Yeah.
neck or your ears. But if a sari is more fabric or if the gold is kind of subtle, then you can wear really chunky pieces and uh, really wear as much gold as
Right.
you want
Right.
to.
Absolutely.
I don't think I don't know that every time I wear a sari, I try to accessorize
Right.
it in a certain way. But definitely if it's for an event, then I kind of just make sure that all I have I
I
have quite a
know.
few
Yeah.
piercings. You can't see it with the headphones, but I make sure that I make sure that all of them have earrings usually. That's about as much
Lovely.
accessorizing that
So,
I
Radhe,
do.
I honestly think that once the lockdown is over, we should all have a grand sari party where we all wear our favorite sari, right?
We
And talk about
should.
saris endlessly and just celebrate just the beauty of the sari and how each of us has really made it our own, right? In our own way. How we kind of like, pair it differently with blouses, how we accessorize it differently. It's been nothing short of fun chatting with you.
Hey, I like your sari. Hey, I like your blouse. So I'm always glad to have these sari conversations with
Right.
other
Thank you
sari
so much, Radhe.
lovers.
It's been super fun talking to you. I really appreciate your time. And
Oh,
please
thank you
stay
for having
safe.
me.
Hello to Sandeep. Regards to your father. And thank you so much for sharing, all your sari stories with us so generously. And thank you to everyone who joined in this conversation. And Radhe, I forgot to tell you, so many people said gorgeous things like you're looking beautiful, Radhe, ni super araga, all that. I kind of skipped
Oh,
all that because I'm sure you've heard a lot of that already.
oh, thank you. But thank you for Panchavarnam Silks also and
Of
Ankita for
course.
thinking of me because it's something I can talk about endlessly. And we've done this, we've
Absolutely.
talked about different motifs and weaves and things like that. So I'm really grateful to Panchavarnam also for thinking of me. And they have such a fantastic collection. And I think I really got to see them when Natakala
Right.
conference was happening. They had such
Oh.
beautiful pieces out on display. I was,
Thank you,
yeah.
Radhe, and good night. And good day to those who've logged in from some other part of the world.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye bye.